Sir, I'm giving you 175 years, which is 2,100 months. I just signed your death warrant.
All week, the nation has turned its eyes to the trial of Larry Nassar, who was accused of sexually abusing more than 100 girls and women while working for USA Gymnastics and Michigan State University. The former physician has been sentenced to 40 to 175 years. In other words, he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. I'm here with Nancy Armour to break down this sentence. Nancy, first question. What kind of closure, if any, will Nassar's victims get from this sentence, considering the grotesque actions he spent decades committing?
Of the dozens upon dozens of women who addressed Nassar in the court over the last week, many mentioned being empowered by facing him and telling him how they felt. And in fact, there were several women who initially thought that they didn't want to speak and did after watching some of the other women. By confronting Nassar, they said that they were regaining their strength, their power, their dignity. They knew they weren't alone, they weren't wrong, and they weren't at fault.
Now, Nassar is obviously the focus of today's conversation, but it's important that we also talk about the institutions he was associated with that let him get away with this abuse for so many years. So, what's next for USA Gymnastics, the NCAA, and Michigan State? What type of discipline can and should these bodies face?
Shortly after Nassar was sentenced, the U.S. Olympic Committee issued an open letter in which it said it would conduct an independent investigation to find out when complaints were made and to whom. It also said that the results of this investigation will be made public. It also called for the entire board to resign and threatened to decertify USA Gymnastics if substantive changes aren't made. Decertification is, I guess you'd call it the nuclear option in the Olympic movement. So USA Gymnastics is now on warning that if they do not take measures, and I'm guessing if they don't take them soon, that the USOC will step in and make sure that they occur. The Michigan Attorney General's Office is investigating the failures at Michigan State, where officials were told as early as 1997 about Nassar's abuse. The NCAA also says it will investigate, though a case like that isn't really something that comes under the NCAA's scope, so it's hard to see what kind of far-reaching effects it would have. I think the Michigan Attorney General's Office and the USOC investigations will have far more of an impact.
Moving forward, what takeaways or lessons can we learn from this hearing and this sentencing? And more broadly, this horrific abuse of power that went unchecked for so many years?
There are a few things. First and foremost is that abuse complaints need to be taken seriously. That was the most heart-wrenching part of listening to the women at the sentencing hearing. So many of them told people, coaches, administrators, even police, and they were blown off. That cannot happen again, ever. People, whether they are administrators, parents, federations, everyone needs to be vigilant. Predators seek out places where they're going to have opportunities, and organizations need to be aware of that and suspicious of pretty much everybody's motives, because, you know, as we saw with Nassar, he was the good guy. He was the one who was supposed to be doing things right, and he was, as the women have said, he was a monster, and he destroyed their lives.
Thanks for joining me, Nancy, and stick with SportsPulse for the latest in sports.